There we go. Okay. I'm going to put on my Judy the Time Life operator. Hello. All right. So here I am live. Okay. All right. So I have a bunch of moving parts. I have two screens going. So this right here is the teaching screen with me. And then I have another screen where I'm watching the comments. And so I'm going to be kind of doing it back and forth so I can read, but also kind of look at the Schumann. So our teaching model is here. Oh, all right. So I'm early. Luth, Estluh, Sluth. Greetings. Hello, everyone who's here. All right. So, this is the Schumann, and so I'm early. So I'm still going to let some music play. I'm introducing everyone, saying hi to everyone, establishing what we're doing here, and trying to figure out how to get everything to work. All right. So.
Or drive, die, or stay alive. Instruction manuals, upon entrance, we gotta find our comfort and energy zones, all on our own. Sure, there's all kinds of help along the way, but day to day, we must stay open, vigilant, focused, unfocused if necessary, kind, always necessary, courageous, strong, ever learning, always necessary, ever loving, always necessary. So many steps, so many missteps, so many failures, so many victories. How do we know when to attack, retreat, keep fighting, or acquiesce to defeat? Why? So many prices to pay, so often way too high. Why can't we just be? What do we have to do or not do to just feel free? Be free. Balancing everything. Balance in all the things. Will that let our freedoms ring true, loud, free? So many queries. What's fake? What's real? What should we believe? What should we not believe? The answers ain't never clear, ain't never easy. Not necessarily. So, fuck it. Just be good. Do good. Let's go. 'Cause we never know until we know. I'm a work of art that hasn't been painted. I'm a story to be told. Many, many pages to be written. I'm a story.
We've been through some hard times, but made it to the other side. You're truly on my ride or die. With you, I plan to live my life. We've been up, we've been down. Love showed up and showed out. When no one else was around, love was there to show us how. Let's celebrate our lives. It's been a long time. Tonight, after all that we've been through, I'm still in love with you. Tonight, let's celebrate our lives. It's been a long time. Tonight, after all that we've been through, I'm still in love with you. Thank you for standing by me. You saw some things I could not see. Everything that you and that dream has now.
Oh, well, there we go. That's our mix. I don't think I've ever listened to it all the way through. All right, well, we're live. Okay. Hold on. Not yet. I have to pull back the veil. There I am. Hello. Okay. All right. So we have our teaching lesson. Let's see. No, I'm not under interrogation. All right. I guess that's all right. Beamy backlit, kind of moody. Wonderful. All right. Okay. So, and I don't even need these. I'm not using the Judy method. Maybe another time. I'm using my old cell phone to broadcast. It's a Samsung J3. I love that. The old J3s and the old Samsungs, old phones in general, used to have more buttons. They would have one in the front. They don't have them anymore. Even an indentation thing, they did away with that. All right, so I'm showing on the board the missing data of the oddball variety. Oh, good golly, what happened? Oh, the coffee's down. But I left the coffee pot on the heater where there's no coffee in it, just the grounds. Lovely. Okay. So, I'm fielding questions on the resonances de Schumann, just in general. This here is, we can talk about this or not. Yes, hi, Julie David. Thank you for being here. All the both of you, y'alls. So, any of you that have been sticking around long enough, you know that there's these dependencies, and I'll go over them again for anyone new. This here would be the amplitude. That's the electrics. This right here would be the quality, and this, the other way, your other down. This right here is the frequency. And so, I don't know what, Bradley. Was that at me? If not, I'll ignore it. All right, so we have the two basic parts of the signal that we're concerned with that make up the Schumann spectrogram. Okay, now obviously the spectrogram is missing some information, because usually it goes from to 40 hertz, and this time here it's dead at 24.2 or whatever it is. It's just around 24. Now I'm looking at this. This here is interesting. We have the numbers 7.8, and then on the other side it's doubled at 14.6, or roughly. It's not exactly double, but it's roughly that. So, I mean, I don't know what that signifies, if there's any significance to it on, we talked about the number synchronicities, but why not? Why not ascribe some meaning to it? I don't know. And then down here, the frequency, the last one, this is them cutting it off, by the way. I had to do 2 screen captures to make sure I had it right, and it stops at 25.38. And then on the other side, 18.7. And this is the red one, and this is frequency 3. I don't know what the exact kilometers that these things are set in. The modes are set in, but each day this number tends to fluctuate. The top here can get up to 8.0. Remember, this is when they talk about frequency and they talk about waves and electromagnetics, it's the length of the wave. It's not the velocity. You got to remember that. There's a difference between a velocity and a frequency. Waves are measured in frequency. Baseballs are measured in velocity. A cannon is measured in a velocity. A bicycle racer, your car, whatever is traveling in a straight line. Tire moves at a frequency because it's going round and round and round. Revolutions per minute of your engine is a frequency because it's a cyclical motion. It's important to remember that and keep those distinct. Yeah, well, you have to look at the range that it's operating within. And, like Wages World was talking about the density and the scale. And the relative range fluctuates. So see, you say, on the one hand, you might say it's going wild because it is fluctuating. But this is going up to 30, right? Are you following me? This number, the green, which is the biggest wave of them all, is at 12, less than half of what the high tide is a 31 up there. It's hit a 31. This is the quality. This is magnetics. This is what sticks around longer than the amplitude. The amplitude is a hit it and quit it kind of thing. The magnetics are the real true Schumann. It's important to remember that, because even though both are measured by Tomsk and other places, not all the places measure the electric. A lot of them measure more of the magnetics, and it is extremely important to remember that more places measure the magnetics. Okay, let me say that. And the British, I can go take you through my Rolodex of these. What do I have here? Not harp. Is that one? No. I'm going to find you a magnetic. Oh, no, that's. Oh, here you go. All right, let's play this. What is this here? I love it. Can I get this to play? There we go.
She's got magic in her big little palms. She's got color in her cheeks, and she looks around at me. She's got wild eyes. She's a fairy child, and she put a little spell on me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl in front. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. Watermelon for my pretty baby, please. She's a stunner on the beach. Golden hair flows in the breeze. Summer movie in the afternoon. Spinning circles in a dress for me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl in the front. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl in the front. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl and I'm fine. Shot her with a water gun.
Ah, one of the most lovely songs ever. Yeah. There you go. Oh, wrong one. Ah, hello. All right. Or maybe not. Okay. Hello, camera. Camera doesn't like me today. Today has been the kind of day that, like this. It's working, it doesn't want to work, the other monitor didn't want to work. Mercury is not in retrograde. However, I had problems at the PCS store with my bill, which were ridiculous. Social distancing bullshit. So I had thought that it would be nice to have a presentation where we could have something positive. And that song definitely applies. All right, so whatever. Okay, so the camera doesn't want to work now. All right. Anyway, okay. So we're here. I'm here. I see the video. You know I'm here. All right. So where we're at with this is an induction coil. Okay. So not that you all didn't believe me or anyone doesn't believe me, but it is important to point out that in a lot of places the magnetics get measured and. I don't know, let's say this. Either one or the other get measured. In some places, the electrics get measured and the magnetics don't. Okay, so we'll just also point that out as a thing. So that's something that they tell you about in the literature, that not all places, it's a thing. It is a special thing to be able to get both of those elements of the Schumann and then plot them together on a spectrogram like Tom's. Okay. So let me just point that out. So we're talking about induction coils, okay? And so this is, I like doing these articles with people so you can see the nature of. I'll see if I can get it one more notch. There you go. Bam. All right, lovely. Okay. So. As if you can't see the first one. All right, so back to the original. All right, so you see, oh, you know what? I think I've made this in an article I'm sorry, not an article, in a post somewhere. I think I've pointed this out. I'm pretty sure I did. I want to show you guys something new since you're here. All right. And I'm going to move this closer down the line here, closer to point A. All right. So, research, where am I? All right. This is Earl Williams from MIT. Okay. This was something I had wanted to point out. I was going to do a video on this, and I haven't, and it's further down the line, and there's all kinds of other stuff. But since I'm here and it's live, and you guys are awesome, here, Rhode Island, this really, because back a week ago, or I don't know, a week and a half ago, or whatever, 2 weeks, this had flipped my wig when I saw this. That they were talking about the Ted Madden. I did one of my videos was about that, Ted Madden. The talk about the smart rocks. This guy here, okay, Ted Madden, okay. So his work, a lot of this is based on stuff from Rhode Island, in West Greenwich. Which, relative to other states, that would be you just getting on from your house to the main road. Here in Rhode Island, it's like pack a lunch all the way down there. Oh my God, it's over the 20-minute mark. So anything over the 20-minute mark is you're in trouble, and you pack a lunch because you may not get back until the end of night. You know, it's just that way to get around anywhere up here. And the states are awful. They're 49th out of 50 of the worst states. That's the coffee maker in the background. Thank you, Bradley, for giving me the link to that song so I could use it to cover over the fact that I needed to make some coffee on a cheery note, a positive note. So, win-win. Thank you. And that is a lovely song, by the way. The first time I heard it, I was like, wow, holy crap, that's well worth broadcasting and advertising. So I could talk about the data, blase, the crap of the data stream of Tomsk, and I did. I introduced it. I don't know what the heck that's up, but it's missing data. It's missing the amplitude, a big chunk of it. This is a good example of why you can't, a person, you, me, whatever, whoever, can't look at that and say, this is what's going on with the world. Oh my God, there's no more amplitude. Like it's gone, it's missing. They're showing you what's there. No, it's like, it's all very relative. You can't, I use this expression often. You can't point your finger at the moon and confuse your finger with the moon. Know the difference between local and distant. And that's part of one of the reasons why my guides have told me I need to do these lessons, is because people need to kind of, I don't want to say wake up, but generally be informed about what's going on with the, with the Schumann in general, with the electromagnetics of the sun, the magnetic envelope, the magnetosphere around our planet. I mean, ultimately, there's nothing you can do about it except come to peace with the fact that the world is changing. You can go on every day, day by day by day, and live your life to the best you can. Enjoy your life and in the moment. And that's sort of what I wanted to kind of bring here into this, that, there's the objective and then there's the subjective. There's the two parts of the Schumann are the electric and the magnetics, and they correspond to the two different functions, the two different hemispheres of the body, of the brain. One's ascending, one's a push, and the other is a receiving, pulling. We all have that. Your heart works in that way. It pumps out blood to half of the body, and on the other half, it kind of returns. It's a cycle back. It's the return cycle. So one half is the sort of masculine, the other half is the kind of feminine aspect of it, and that corresponds to the Schumann resonances. As one is the electric, top down,
The electric always moves top down. It hits ground instantly. That is the mind. That's mental. That is what they call the temporal. These are the dimension scales, like music, 4/4 time, whatever, depending on the amplitude strike, the height, the height of it. I think that would be the height. All right. So then once it hits, the magnetics move bottom up as a wave. It converts. Once it hits the surface, it bounces, but it starts bouncing as the magnetic portion in a cohesive fashion. And you got to remember, lightning is not a plasma. That's not the correct way to put it. It is correct to put it, lightning causes a plasma. Lightning creates a plasma. I want to make sure to kind of get this in while I have the chance, while I have a sitting audience. This is, you guys come here for some science or whatever, I hope. I don't know. Maybe you're bored elsewhere. But that's part of what the lesson here is that, to kind of instruct, hopefully, and to give you some good kind of direction on what the the principle that's involved. And you got to remember something, that there is that third ubiquitous principle we don't talk about, but it's gravity as well. And the frequency might even be seen as the gravity, because they have a specific gravity, which is the meniscus of a liquid. There's a bow front, there's a shock wave, there's all this stuff that goes in front of it that comes with the plasma of the electrics transferring and converting, and there's a lot of words, transmuting, and it's as it, because the electrics come in quick and hard and hot and heavy, and that's a lot of some things that the white mode spikes is what a lot of people concentrate on, but we are stuck more with the magnetics because they last longer. They go around the world, they go around the globe a few times, and then bump into each other. So it's wonderful. I point this out frequently. It's wonderful that people look at the spikes of it, but there's a lot more going on to the resonances as a cohesive body, because you can argue at what point it becomes gravity, but if you've ever gotten sucked in by the wave, you get turned around, there is a gravity to that. And even though it is, you say, oh, it's just the weight of the water moving around, air has a gravity to it, a specific gravity, specific density. And you have to remember that. There is 32 pounds per square inch, I think it is, at sea level, pushing down on you. That's part of what's causing gravity, is the weight of all the stuff, the invisible stuff, on top of you. So then, we get bumped by, there's what they call solar forcing. We get hit by, buffeted by. Wages World has shown you, you've seen those, you have seen those, what do you call them? The fluctuations of the in front of the Earth fluctuating. That's the field strength. It's hard to put that in words exactly, but if you've seen the picture, you know what I'm talking about. Where Earth is in the middle, and it's the bow shock, the in front of the Earth, the magnetosphere that protects us. And so you can see it bobbling. That's the density that pushes in on us. And we've talked about that, like the Earth acting like a capacitor. And so the forcing of the atmosphere coming into us charges that capacitor. And you can talk about what happens, or you can talk about where it goes, but that's basically what the Schumann resonances, in essence, are as well. It's essentially lightning that causes, how do you put this? the wave cavity shortens up. So the resonances will increase their frequency. That's kind of what happens when you squeeze in. You see that solar forces squeeze in, the wavelengths shorten up. They have no choice to shorten up. And if any of you have seen the let's see if I can find it on my channel here. There you go. Right.
Let's do a classic physics experiment called the Reuben. Now, I really want to bring it down, but it involves open flames, and some people have issues with open flames. So, what we have here is a length of PVC pipe, has about 100 or so holes drilled at half-inch increments, got some foil tape to keep it from melting. On this side, we've got a 2-inch speaker matching the diameter of this 2-inch tube. On that side, we've got some lab tubing leading to some propane. So let's fire it up and see what it does. All right, as you can see, we got some nice standing planes, a little bit of oscillation from the vibrations in the hose. Let's throw some sound in there and see what happens. Let's start with a 449 hertz frequency. As you can see, this sets up a standing wave, and we can see, well, the emerging sine curve that represents sound. What happens here is we're having the sound compressing here and not compressing here. The lower pressure here allows more gas to escape into the atmosphere, shaping the sound curve. Now, if we change the frequency, we can see each time we set up a standing wave, we get that sine curve. Higher the frequency, the more waves. Now, let's throw some music at this. How about some Dave Brubeck?
How about some Dave Brubeck? All right, that's on my channel. I've shown that. Anyway, you can go to my channel and see that. But it's a Rubens tube. All right, so I wanted to. Where was I? All right, yeah, here. All right, so this was something interesting that came up. This is going to be a couple video series. I'm going to read this, but part of one of the things that I have talked about is finding an alternate source for information about the Schumann resonances. Okay, I would like to get with some of my subscribers and actually create a Schumann resonance antenna in probably Massachusetts, somewhere not that far from here, and kind of measure the resonances. So one of the things I was just what I was talking about before I got sidetracked on that was the solar forcing of the waveguide. So the ionosphere to the Earth surface is what they call the waveguide. And so part of what happens is through the solar winds bouncing in, it isn't necessarily because the magnetosphere catches a lot of that stuff. And so it can get battered and it can get lowered, but a lot of the stuff gets caught in the magnetosphere and it gets kind of brushed off. So there are higher wavelength, higher frequency particles that do get through that are kind of above and beyond this, that are kind of gamma and X-ray, but they are not of the type that can be measured by the Schumann resonances. However, what does happen again is this principle of the waveguide compressing. And so it's really important, super important to remember that the two, there is a relation, a connection and a connection, but it may not be a causality as a lot of people think or a lot of people suspect, because the Schumann resonance antennas are only designed to pick up at Tomsk. In other places in Italy, as I have said before, they can measure up to. They're a network. Italy is a network, and they're looking for earthquakes because they're prone to earthquakes in that area. Italy, Greece, all over that area. So that's largely what they are looking for over there. So, so they go from, like I said, up to 120 hertz. A few of the stations do, but they don't all. And they have a range. The different stations cover a different range. And they are definitely interested in the magnetic spectrum of it. They have a few magnetic stations over there. Okay. So I want to pose it out to my readers. I'm kind of reading my comments on your comments, and no one's asking me any questions. So if you have any questions, or you want me to cover any areas of the Schumann or Schumann related stuff, please let me know. Because this is I could do a video on this, just of this, but I want to kind of allow you, the subscribers, the watchers, to I want to encourage you to ask me questions in the comments, because I'm reading what's here, and it also comes up on the screen that I'm broadcasting on as well. I keep checking to make sure that everything is in the screen that I'm the camera that I'm broadcasting from. So otherwise, I'll just keep rambling on what's in my browser. Maybe I'll show you what's in my browser. There we go. Determination. Oh, hello. Plain language. All right, here we go. Plain language summary. This research measures the globally averaged strength of the lightning discharges detected by the LIS/OTD lightning detection satellites. The strength of a lightning discharge is measured by the amount of charge it moves. I'll even point this out. It moves multiplied by the distance it moves the charge. This measure is called the charge moment M, with units Coulomb meters cm. This movement of current produces propagating electromagnetic waves that can be detected all over Earth in the 5 hertz to 55 hertz frequency band. All right. So see where they're measuring is 5 to 55 hertz. So this is the range that the Schumann frequencies is at, and it's it's not like gamma and X-ray are like giga, like billions, the billions of hertzes. And whereas here they're measuring just 5 to 50. West Greenwich. This is West Greenwich. These electromagnetic waves have a modal structure called the Schumann resonances. The intensity of these Schumann resonances is directly related to the value of M. We deduce the globally averaged value of M by regressing the expected intensity of these Schumann resonances against the observed values. The result is that this report finds that the globally averaged value M is 41.1 plus or minus 3.9. That is the plain language summary of this article here. Okay? Excuse me. This is Earl Williams. He's our guy, our ace in space, as it were, the guy from MIT, who I recently found. He did the Ted Madden, again, for anyone who's new here. Earl, there's one of my earlier videos was him giving the keynote speak of the memorial to Ted Madden, who he was the professor at MIT, and you can hear more about him in the video, But that's who Earl Williams is, from MIT, anyway. So this is I'll read to you what it says here. All right. So, determination of the global average charge moment of a lightning flash using Schumann resonances and the LIS/OTD lightning data. This is fascinating. Oh, Estula, no. You, I am not actually looking. Holy crap. What'd you say? All right. Yes. Okay. So I'm going back to the comments. So I'm going to read what S. Luth said. Glad I went to the comments before I started reading this dumb article. All right. So the first question is, how does the Schumann affect the human along electromagnetic frequencies or radio waves? All right. So, excuse me. That's a big question. All right. All right. So, and then that was the first question. And then I'll see if I can find the second question. All right. So, um, I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, but I'll go back to it. It depends on, so the Schumann resonances are kind of a few things. That they're the electric part, okay, and then you have the magnetics as the quality. Okay. So it depends on where in the picture you're looking, and there's a variety of ways that they affect us. Now, part of one of the things is if you already live in a noisy environment of electromagnetics, it makes it worse. So if you have a lot of leaky electronics in your house, you're already kind of living on the you're already sort of negatively exposed, we'll say. And then the Schumann resonances, when they're high, like the quality, like these aren't necessarily high, even though they're jumping around. There are these spikes that come in. These are the electrics. Okay, so your mind would be affected by the electrics. Okay, so first and foremost come the electrics. They're quick, they're hot, they're heavy, and they are of the mental, the temporal, and even in the literature they talk about temporal. And so the temporal, like the temples in your head, parts of your like the side of your head is called the temple. Okay, so and there's a connection with your head and the crown and God and spiritual and all of that. So the first thing, the top down that gets affected is your crown, the top of your head. And it depends on what thinking goes on there in the top of your head, but that's the first thing that gets hit is the electric. And it's like a lightning rod. Now, if you are grounded as I don't know, like a spiritual person, you're grounded, you will just let that energy channel through you, bring, quickly, efficiently, let it move through you. However, if you are a disorganized, hot mess, the energy you channel, it sticks to you. And so part of, I talk about the sticky magnetics, the mid-grade electrics, sticky magnetics. They're the in the Schumann range, they're these oranges, the yellowish orange, pumpkinish kind of color, in the middle. That are in the middle of these. The crosses, they're not here in the middle of nowhere. They're in patterns. You see them, very interesting patterns. Oh, wrong one. So, so part of what's happening too is the numbers synchronies. And so as you see different numbers, it's also from the ones, twos, threes are top downs, and nines, eights, sevens are bottoms up, as it were. So 1 1 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 2 3 top down 9 8 9 9 9 8 9 7 9 8 9 7 9 7 9 9 9 9. Like these things are starting in the bottom up, the magnetic end. So depending on where you are grounded is where here on the chart you get affected. At what point, what of your plexuses, you have, your energy centers get affected in different ways. And that the coloring of the Schumann is not an exact one-to-one of like your aura color. However, people's perceptions and consciousness pave the path before them. And so it winds up being, as you think, there you are. even though that's not, it's not literally translated. It could translate literally enough. As you think, there you are. And so your chakras, mid colors, are the oranges, pumpkins of the red, orange to yellow of your gut. And so it's sort of a good enough way to look at it, close enough. Is it true? Yeah, true enough. For our discussion, for it to be actually true, even though the Tomsk is our reference model. Tomsk here is our reference model. This is the Russian station. Whatever is happening in Tomsk stays in Tomsk, but it's not. It still is a representative of the world global situation and how it affects us. So if I'm not too far ahead of you, I'm talking about the chakras, your energy centers. This applies to everyone, whether you believe it or not. And you have multiple auras about you. And so the electrics affect your higher self, your thinking, their higher thinking before, these solar blasts, we feel them on a spiritual level. And hopefully I'm not too esoteric about this, because this is what I'm believing, and this is how I approach this. I'm from always the higher perspective of the higher person, higher mind, before the lower mind, the low body-centered mind, the ego body-centered mind feels it. You have your upper higher mind that thinks and processes all the way up to infinity, completely related from your sensory perception all the way down into the gut feeling that you have. And the brain has to process all of this, but the brain operates at different frequencies within different things. And so the different parts of your brain can do different things, and you can have a headache, and your sinuses at the top of your head can be kind of inflamed or whatever. That's your crown chakra. And on those heavy electric days, you can get that activation of the topper part of you as a gift from the universe. But you got to be ready. You got to want it. You have to have done the work and the clearing, the density clearing of those lower frequencies of your blockages. And so that's part of what has to happen, is that on a conscious level, everyone has to kind of clear their blockages to be ready for moving on. So this kind of may be a long-winded kind of way to answer this question, but I'm addressing a lot of different issues relative to what you are. I am a spirit that inhabits this body, but I still occupy this body. The body is intelligent. So the magnetics come later, and you feel those. They pound you on a substantial level. Your joints, connective tissues are a magnetic issue. If you have metal in your body, transitional metals, your electrolytes, depending on that, how can you clear blockages and get more grounded? Okay. All right. And S. Luth all right. So how do we clear the blockages? Okay. That's a good question. And I think that's a good point of where I was at to pause that. And I'm trying to get back to here. All right. So one of the things that you do is make sure that you keep your energies around you clear, first and foremost. Get rid of, there's simple things. All of life is made up of repetitive patterns. Remember that. Waves, repetitive waves. All of life is made up. Now, we accept momentary things happen, electrics, momentary. But much of it is us reestablishing our old patterns and our old habits. We, as humans, our sanity depends on pattern recognition. Pattern, and if we see the wrong pattern, sometimes we freak out, even though it's a trick of light, right? So that's why the patterns, and people go so much on the Schumann patterns, and no one ever talks about the dependencies, is because the wavy, the line graph is much less exciting than the tapestry, the tapestry of the Schumann. It's just that simple. That's what I've come to the conclusion of. This is this top one is much more exciting than the line graphs. Those are boring. Who can read those? A1, 2, A3, FQ, what are those? But this pattern, and they get the side out there. You're like, oh yeah, everyone knows. All right. Anyway, grounding. All right. So back to the topic. I'm sorry. So all right, so clear your space. There's a number of things you can do. All right, so first and foremost, get on your knees in the beginning. Start at the beginning of your day. You get on your knees, be grateful you're up, or not your knees, but I sleep on the floor. So in order for me to get out of bed, I have to get on my knees. So while I'm down there getting out of bed, I put my hands up by my crown chakra, and I say, fill me, please, with what I need to know, who I need to know, be with for my day, to reveal to me what I need to say to who, and direct me and everything I need to do. Help me, stay with me, be with me. So the first part of my day, when I wake up, starts with my conscious intention to what I want to do, where I want to go, who do I want to be. You show me, direct me. Bam, I am yours. So from there, I get into the rest of my mode, kind of start my day. Now I've taken to kind of looking at YouTube, and sometimes if I have the time in the day, I make a few videos, good positive messages, want to push that out to people, start with that, answer questions, kind of read, take care of that stuff. Then I work, I have my regular routine. I spread some love to my coworker, Matt. I try not to get other people pissed off at me. I eat good food, get sunshine. I try not to wear my mask too much when I don't have to. I don't put it on. But I do wear it for other people so they feel better. I get some fresh air. I enjoy the sun. Please, as I'm going through my day, direct me. I stay conscious to where I am. Whoops, sorry. I look around. No one's going to run over me on my bike. I'm always conscious. My head's on a swivel. As much as my consciousness allows, I'm always scanning. As much as I can. Potholes pop up overnight. I'm not going to let those get me down. I'm not going to wreck my bike. I lock my bike up so it doesn't get stolen. Oh, you get the point I'm making. This is just before even lunch. But you have to set your conscious intention at the beginning of the day how you want it to go. And that is the best, most grounding thing you can do. There are specific things you can do. Go to places that are timeless. Waterfalls. Go to the beach. Swim. Take care of yourself. In every conscious thing you're doing, give thanks. Hey, this is great. I am doing better than a lot of people. Don't give in to negativity. Clear the air around you. Send out just unconditional ways of love to people. Just blast them with bam, good, positive, bam, love, whether they deserve it or not. And you would be surprised if a negative person, he gets hit with a full blast of your love directly from your Merkaba. You close your eyes. You would be surprised at the imbeciles, people who just the fools that would come into my space and no, honey, oh no. No, one guy was screeching his head off within 2 minutes. Yeah, no, you're not coming to me with that stuff. Because the biggest thing I do, though, I will tell you this. The biggest clearing thing I do is all of the shit that I get from people at the end of the day. I bring it with me in my backpack. All of it. I bring it with me in my backpack. There's a campfire, me, and the angels, fire. So all of the worst shit I get from people is wrapped up as a beautiful, like a Fabergé egg. That's what I give to God, to transmute, to the angels. There you go. You see that? I don't always do this. I forget to do it. But I will tell you, those times, the worst times, when the things have been the worst, that is how I've given it up, and I've cleared that density. It's the worst shit that you can imagine. You give it over to God, that it is taken care of. And that is why we are here, because the rest of them, the humans, aren't able to do that. I mean, you talk shit, and shit is, it's good shit, bad shit, whatever, but no, they just flinging at each other. No, it needs to be purified. It needs to be cleared. That's the difference. That's the difference between the worker of light and the whatever other workers thereof, the workers of shit, spilch. That is the difference. That's how you clear your density. You be the light. You purify it. You clarify it. You rarefy it is the word. That was all right. So that is how you do that. The question was, does it affect anger or people with traumatic brain injuries? Yes. Yes and yes. Oh, good golly. I'm working on providing links. You'll have to go through some of my old videos. You like I think you said you're new here. You Wages World, yeah. You want to Wages? Come over. Go to my old videos. I've posted all kinds of tech link. You want links? Go into. I have over 100 videos of all kinds of stuff. I have. Does the Schumann affect your heart? Does the Schumann affect your brain? Does it make you crazy? The low, not just the Schumann, but the earthquakes, earth rumblings, producing more admissions to the mental health wards. All right. Does that? Hopefully, that'll give you a good idea. So, as you, the wave guide. All right. So under, let me kind of, let me see if there's another question before I kind of go into this. Trauma. Yes to traumatic brain injury. The magnetics of another planetary body is affecting the moon's waxing phase tonight. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, it rotates. It does that clockwork motion. There's a book called Palimpsests that I have to get. In it talks about, like, it's a really good book. It talks about, like, it's really wild. It talks about the moon, like, actually revolving and not rotating like a clock. But it's interesting the correspondence between that as a thing of the moon actually moving where it's never had done that, and now it is. All right. Thank you all. All right, so I'm reading the comments here. Actually, hold on, let me find it. Oh, here it is. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this again because I really love this song, and I got to find the I'm looking for something, so I'm going to play this. There we go. Oop, there we were.
She's got magic in her big little arms. She's got curl on her cheeks when she looks around at me. Yeah. She's got wild eyes. She's a fairy child, and she put her little spell on me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl and fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl and fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. Shine with water gun.
Thank you, Bradley's son. That is actually, in case you didn't know, that is Bradley's son who actually recorded that. And it's a lovely song. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's like the theme song from the for our show. Aaron, I want to say this. Aaron Mix gives me the music to use for his for my show. He's actually a paid DJ. He's licensed. He's got a service, and he's got some killer equipment, and he's been doing it for 25 years or something. More. So and some of the mixes I have go back 10 years. So I use him because it's hard to get, music for the broadcast that isn't licensed through somewhere else. So first and foremost, why I use so much of Aaron's music, it's of a type of genre, and I have gotten good feedback. A lot of people enjoy it, so I'm glad of that. But that's just truth be told why I use it, because he specifically has given it to me for broadcast, and it's free. It hasn't cost me anything except like I traded him a bag for what the hell is it, a Kipling. It was a Kipling bag, day bag. It was very nice, without the little monkey. Do you have? Yes, I do have a Schumann earthquake. I have quite an extensive playlist, Estluth, of Schumann earthquake. Now, some of the folders don't have so much in it, but the earthquake one I think has a few in there. I also have. There's also the CIEN network has some. Information on earthquakes and that stuff. They do a lot with earthquake, kind of related to the Schumann. That's why they measure it over there. And so there's some stuff on the not a whole lot in my playlist. I'm not sure what, but yeah, I have some stuff like that. It is within the stuff I have playlist on. A lot of that, the brain activity and how it relates to the human health. And originally, people may or may not have known this, but probably most people didn't. But originally, I had understood that Professor Schumann had originally, gone into this with the curiosity of how it affects the human body. And I have posted a month, at least over a month ago, something from the HARP, and something recently, talking about the effect of the nervous system, the Schumann resonances, and the sun's influences, and that kind of stuff. And I'm always looking at it. There's so much to post on that I have stuff in the back of my browser here. And that's just that browser. I also have this other one, the Brave, with a bunch of stuff. Here. While you're here. All right. This here is... Yeah. Oh my God. That's such a great song. All right. So, on the subject of... Oh, this wasn't the one.
Hi. Do you want... Thanks to Skillshare.
This was a great one, but it wasn't the one I had wanted to show you. The magnetic induction. How does... oh, good golly. All right, so somewhere on my channel, I have... I have playlists. I have subscribers. Wages are all over there. All right, so... let's show my playlist. Sorry, here it is. All right. So, so this is just me going through my playlist here. So what do I have? Oh, come on. I have a lot more than this. Oh, here it is. View full playlist. It is not helping me. All right, so somewhere, I'm not going to go through all of this right now. All right, so yes, on my playlist, somewhere in there, this thing's being difficult. There was this I had wanted to bring up relative to we're still on the topic of how does the Schumann resonances affect your health, okay? And this is my crackpot theory, because you asked. All right. Yes, I use colloidal silver. Yeah, colloidal silver, that helps. That's part of, it's a transitionary metal. All right, first and foremost, a transitionary metal, those help in a lot of respects. So there's different type of silver reservoir. All right, so electromagnetic force. Here it is. Okay, so. All right, so I want to show you something.
EMF, or electromotive force, refers to the voltage created by a battery or by a changing magnetic field. Counter EMF, also called back EMF, is a related phenomenon that we will illustrate in this animation. Here is a simple circuit featuring a battery, a knife switch, and a light bulb. This circuit also contains a wire coil that serves as an inductor. Inductors store energy in the form of magnetic fields that are generated around them when a current passes through them. They are called inductors because they induce a voltage in their coils when that magnetic field changes. We will see this in a minute. The elements in this animation are not represented to scale, and the action we will show in super slow motion actually takes place in the blink of an eye. But this animation is helpful for illustrating how back EMF works.
All right, so before we go further, if you're all watching, this is the cochlea of your ear, in your ear. Okay. I have a video for those of you new here. If you go back into my videos, there is one on the two things, and there's 5 between the two topics because they're all related to this here thing in your head. Okay, this is your cochlea. It does 2 things. One, it affects your balance, and the other is it affects your hearing. Okay, so the way it generally works is that this part right here is your balance. These are called the semicircular canals, and these are filled with fluid. And as you tilt your head, on both sides of your head, the fluid will go the opposite way. And inside there, you have crystals. They're all called ololiths. Ololiths. It's in the video. And so those crystals will interact with that fluid, and it sends an electric signal to your brain, a sensory signal to your brain that you've moved, things have moved, you've shifted, okay? And so they used to be called gravity detectors, like that's a phrase. In animals, I think they call it gravity detectors. There is a way for your body to know where it is in 3-dimensional space. And it's hard to tell here, but it's like a gyroscope. All 3 axes is represented. This one goes to top. This one here is front to back. This one here is laterally, and this one moves the other way, along the other axis. Oh, crap. Yeah, okay, hold on. Hold, please. System processing. Please wait. Okay. I feel much better now. Thank you for not shutting off on me, computer. All right. So where are we? All right. So, all right. So that's the first part. This is what gets affected by the electric. First off, because it's the top, okay, top down is the electric. And it's got in here these crystals, okay? So within these crystals, these ololiths, that is what is affected by the piezoelectric effect. Okay, now it's in the video. So go back again, once again, go back to where I talk about, and you'll see it on the thumbnail is a picture of the cochlea next to an induction coil. Okay, so all right, so that's that, and then this part down here, this is what is important. Okay, see this coil down here? This is the part that's responsible for your hearing. This coil, which is identical to this coil relative to their discussion here of how are the Schumann resonances affecting you, and these are two specific ways. Now again, this is my crackpot theory, okay? I accept this as a crackpot theory, but it's based on my engineering and my kind of electrical experience rather than my scientific background. You know, I would have to come up with a thing and put it up for peer review and all of that, but you all are my peer. So, you know, so I just want to point that out. For anything that I you know, for the information, whatever I come up with, you know, I give you links to it and factual. I give you factual information where I can and where I'm basing it from. And if it's a theory, I tell you, this is my theory. And especially if it's my crackpot theory, but I leave it up to you for your submission as to whether or not you accept it or believe it. There is a legitimate tinnitus that people get that's ringing in the ears that is not this. So there, as a disclaimer, I want to make sure to have this as a disclaimer. If people do have a legitimate medical condition of vertigo and of tinnitus, okay, that is not what I'm talking about here. So relative to our discussion of that high-pitched ringing, if it's not a tinnitus, and it's not that caused by loud noises, like work at the airport with jet engines, you know, or if you're a rock star or whatever, you know, if you don't have that legitimate medical condition, you got to look elsewhere. And so I'm proposing that relative to this, and this is only relative to the Schumann. You can come up with your own crackpot theory all you want, you know, but relative to the Schumann resonances, that's what this is. That's what in the room you're in. You know, I give this to you that here's the battery. You know, like Tesla told you in 1905 that the atmosphere, the ionosphere, acts like a battery. You can get free energy from it. All right. So that's what we're talking about. And during the Carrington event of 1859, when the telegraph wires caught on fire, the telegraph operators said that the air was charged with electricity. They didn't need to have the batteries plugged in. That's something really wild to know that the telegraph operators of the day were able to keep their sets going through the atmosphere based on the solar radiance that whacked us during the Carrington event. And I have a video on the Carrington event. All right. So where I'm going with this, I will go back into the video. I'll just play it some more.
When we power this circuit, the electrons in the current create a magnetic field around the wire as they move through it, as shown by these blue arrows. If the wire is formed into a coil, like this inductor, the magnetic field lines converge in the center. They gradually build up to a maximum magnetic field that is much stronger than the one around the straight length of the wire. Let's watch this again, but this time we'll pay closer attention to what's happening in the wire conductor. In this parallel circuit, the current can travel either through the inductor or through the light bulb. When the current reaches this junction, it splits and flows to both the inductor and to the light bulb. At first, the current flows much more strongly towards the light bulb. This happens because as the magnetic field in the inductor grows, it induces its own voltage through Faraday's law. This is called electromagnetic induction. So the inductor here is creating a back EMF represented by this yellow arrow. Back EMF always opposes the change that created it. So in this instance, the back EMF is opposing the change created by turning on the circuit. It opposes the current. The result, as you can see, is that the back EMF effectively diverts the current away from the inductor and toward the light bulb. This causes the bulb to light up, but only briefly. Once the magnetic field around the inductor reaches its maximum field, the back EMF fades, and the current now favors the path through the inductor because the bulb creates some resistance to the current. The same phenomenon occurs when the magnetic field is shrinking, which happens when we open the switch and stop current flow from the battery. Once again, the back EMF opposes the change that created it. In this case, the change is the cessation of current. So, opposing this change, the back EMF wants to maintain the current, which flows once again to the bulb, causing it to flash before it fades away altogether.
There you go. That's your ear. Okay, there we go. That's your ear, right there. The coil. That's the coil. That's the light bulb. All right. So you saw how when you stop it, boom, the bulb stops, but it sends it back to the coil and all that kind of stuff. It's like a spring. Electricity in a capacitor is like a spring. It's stored electricity. You know, the electrons, it's not just it can become motive, and it can move things. And you can get a shock, you know, like you feel it. It's a real thing, even though it's invisible. It's really real. Once it makes your hair stand on fire, on end. So, I'm reading what Christy G says. How would we know the difference? Timing and connection, Schumann fluctuations. All right. Can you ask that a little differently? I'm not sure. I think I've missed something in what you're asking. So, headphones would mess up. Yeah, loud. Yeah, loud. Yes. If you play the headphones loudly, yes. At a certain decibel, you have a tympanic membrane in your ear. Okay. See, here's the thing about sound and the radio waves. Okay. Sound is a compression medium. Okay, compression medium. So SPL, sound pressure level. One of the dimensions that they use for measuring loudspeakers is the SPL, which is the decibel rating. So a speaker rating with a 91 decibel rating is a pretty decent speaker. If you're getting 108 decibels, like your ears are going to start hurting with that. Okay, so there is a level at which the membrane starts breaking up and ripping. So that's the threshold. I think at around 130 plus decibel, it starts ripping at that membrane, and then it's exposed. So the tympanic membrane, which covers the inner ear, vibrates, and that's how it produces sound, is that vibrating column of air into the coil, the chamber, this part here, the coil. And then on the inside of that, there are hairs, little tiny hairs that vibrate like a turntable needle and send an electric signal to your brain. Okay, so the sound levels, you can start feeling like heavy bass waves, and not only in your body, but in your ear as it starts, kind of breaking up. So the electromagnetics are different because they can travel through that tympanic membrane quite easily. Electromagnetic waves can travel, through a vacuum, whereas sound waves do not. Okay, so because there's no medium there in outer space, there's nothing for, it's a vacuum. There's no compressible medium in outer space except maybe the sun, like the space dust or something, that's a thing, like, anyway. So, does give you pause to think. It's a medium, sound could theoretically pass through a nebula, or a cloud of space dust. All right. So, anyway, aside that, so the electromagnetics, easily penetrate the tympanic membrane and go right into the inner ear, this coil. So that's what I'm proposing causes, those hairs to percolate, like the hairs on your head standing up when they're getting kind of, there's an electric field. It's the same thing with these hairs here, these hairs here, that those are standing up because of the magnetics. And that would actually be the magnetics more than the electrics. And the brain part, you're thinking, the upper part, your vertigo, is affected by the electrics. The upright of, where am I here? The uprights of this, the spikes of the electric. This is what the dings the light bulb of your, the upper ear. You saw that, the semicircular canal, right? So again, this is the light bulb here. All right, so how would we know the difference? All right, so I'm going to read back in my comments, your comments here. Oh, Christy G. Every time I talk about the Carrington event, people's eyes glaze over and they look at me like I'm crazy. Okay. Yeah. It's only a few people that I really talk to about anything significant. My boss is one of them, and, she doesn't think I'm crazy. She's just looking for the application to her everyday life and how it's going to slow her down in her business. Okay. And I think Bradley had posted that. Yeah, you clarify your water. That's one of those ways that you stay grounded. And the sun is the best way to help purify and clarify your water. I'll just say that. All right. Volcanoes and earthquakes are due to the planet being a giant capacitor, exchanging energies from the new planetary system that has been returned to our solar system. All right. So I don't know what that big sphere is near the sun. Right? I don't know. No one knows. But I don't believe it's as crazy as it seems to even think there's a solar system coming in through ours. My view is even crazier, that I think that big sphere is actually hollowed out and it's a not a planetoid, it's a ship. I have in all these things, I ask my guides, right? I ask my guides, what is that, right? And my guides are suggesting to me that it's not a planet, because a planet would have a larger, especially if it's a sun, a stellar core, would have a larger magnetic influence on the sun, as close as that fucking sphere gets. And you might think the flares are pretty significant, but I'm suggesting to you that they could be a lot bigger if that really is an actual stellar core, okay? So that's what my guides, when I asked, tell me what this is, that was what the picture I got, a big, much bigger. And the orbit would be a little bit more erratic because of the sun's influence on it. It would beat it up. Like there would be a lot more interchange, and there would be a bigger influence on us and our magnetosphere, as much as there already is. So what I'm proposing is that if that is a hollowed out planetoid, it would not have the mass. And what would they do with the material? Well, they could very well put it around Saturn, because the rings of Saturn are not original to that planet. The rings of Saturn are much newer than the planet itself. So what do you do with all that excess material once it's hollowed out? Put it around the planet, and then you have the little helper fleet then maintaining it. So like the rings of Saturn are very much manicured and very much maintained by a fleet of tender moons up there, and that's one of the things that I have in my drive. Is I maybe I should start actually talking about this whole Saturn thing, and the tender fleet of moons that do all kinds of different things that manicure the rings up there. That Saturn is a motherfucker. They caught, if any of you that know Lady V, Queen V, she talks about that these disagreeable beings caught Saturn during a transition phase and put a skirt around him. Saturn is a male, but wearing a dress. So that's a theory, okay? But you talk to Saturn and get a better a picture of what's going on. I don't know. So, like I said, I ask my guides, please direct me. So, the vision I have is not even necessarily that if it's a hollowed out spaceship that these are the bad guys, but I think it's one of the legions that are here on the peacekeeping mission. So, but anyway, so I don't disregard what people say about it being a stellar core because I don't know. Right? And I go by what my guide said. But I do agree that there is definitely something there on a regular orbit. Right? And so that's kind of where I'm putting the, my kind of fix on big sphere. There's, and hey, there are helpers out there who want to help us to arise. And they can't, you see pictures, and see the other thing too is, here's the thing, is that if that was a stellar core, you would see it as a regular fucking thing orbiting. This planet here, you don't see it until it interacts with the sun. So that's part of what I'm like, what phase is it that it's got to get the negative? You gotta scale it back with not filters, but processing on a different wavelength. It's not visible to the optical range. So that's where I'm at with this, that I'm pretty sure it's an intelligent ship that's very fucking sophisticated, that is intending to stay cloaked, and it's only until you see it in a certain range of data from electromagnetic whatever shit from the sun at different frequencies you see it that are not at optical ranges. So that's one of my indications personally that it's not a stellar core. Okay, and I'm pretty sure if it were a stellar core, it would not be as symmetrical as that motherfucker, right? Like if the pictures, the images, I'm not calling them pictures, if the renderings, they're renderings. You got to process these fucking things. If that is correct, that thing is as round as it is, that's like a perfect sphere. And I'm not doubting that an ejected. I mean, I'm not really convinced. I'm not convinced that like an ejected or a stellar core that's gone like past nova, and you have the remnants, that it would be nice and smooth like that. I'm not buying that. Like, I'm sure in all the pictures, you'd see, fairly ragged edge of it if it was a naturally occurring thing. I'm thinking that is too perfect of a sphere for it to be a natural occurring thing. All right. So this is my kind of observations, again, where I'm asking my guides, the other me that's in higher dimension back home with the, I am an emissary from the central sun. I come way, a long, far away place. And, I won't tell anyone else this, but on my channel, with those of you kind of fellow whack jobs that are here with me, like this is my gig. And so back home is back home where the rest of the stuff happens in the galaxy is around the central sun. Like that's you want a city, like that's the place to be. Earth is a very lonely, far away fucking place. Yeah, it is far on the outskirts of this whole galaxy. Yeah, and it's been quarantined for quite a long time. So the quarantine's up. So you get all kinds of, like things, beings coming in to be human. Let's learn the human experience. That's why it's tumultuous time, because there's so many different races that are able to come in to Earth at this time. And some of those are also negative entities that are being allowed to come in to hopefully raise their vibrations and to be given that last chance to maybe do the right thing. So that's part of what this is about. And this is kind of the secret to this too, that it's not just, this is your harvest time. This is redemption time, if you can. And people are being allowed to come back again to right some things. And your decision to make things right in this lifetime or whatever is a lifetime decision. It has been. People are allowed to kind of remember their past lives, and it's a different kind of thing. But stuff is opening up, and it's important to know kind of the shit from the shinola. And that's one of the things that I was told, that, going from living in a tent in the woods, meditating all the time. Why? Why do I need to? Because people are waking up. You got to be there. You know the material better than anyone else. That's what they told me. You were born for this. This is your time. Shit's been boring for a while. Yeah, things are about to get exciting. Don't lose hope. Don't give in to fascination and morbid curiosity and all of that. Keep your vibrations high. Keep looking up. That's part of what the density is. Get rid of the musty, the dusty, the rusty, the not working, the broken, the busted. All of it. Get rid of it. Toxic stuff you want to clear? Clear the toxic people out of your life. Tell them you're harsh and I'm mellow. You know what? I'm not letting you get me down. You can't do it. It's just words. You can't word me. You can't speak me into a bad freaking mood if I don't let you. If someone puts their hands on you, that's different. Okay, all right, all right. Yeah, you just got punched. Okay, I would feel poorly and badly as well. You got your purse stolen or whatever. Someone knocked you down and took your wallet. Okay, yeah, you're grooving. You hit one of these career-ending potholes here in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island roads are the only thing I hate in this life. They will end your life. They're hateable. They're detestable. How? Okay, but they're fucking roads. People, I let that go to the best of my ability. I give it up, give it over to the precious, the Fabergé egg, to the creator, to the source. Here you go. This is your shitty, stupid, fucking free will experiment. Fuck you. There you go. Thank you. I feel much better now. God is big enough. He can take a fuck you, God. Because if you let it out and you just ask the question, why this, why that, and you get the answer. I've never been disappointed. When I've asked, I've always gotten an answer. And so if it works for me, Joe Nobody, I guarantee you it'll work for you. All right, any more questions? Wreck your bike on the road. Not recently, but but I have my head in a swivel. I do have issues with the Rhode Island roads because I'm on them every day. Yeah, they are, again, 49th out of 50. The only state with the worst roads in Rhode Island, Alaska, because they have ice roads. Half-ish of the year, they're lakes and streams, man. We couldn't do any worse if we tried. And they do try. They try. They've tried to make the roads worse, but whatever. Okay, don't get me started. All right. Career enders. There is a career ender for every mode of transportation in Rhode Island. All right. So I've gone through this video. I've shown you Idaho. Yeah, I know. Utah. Actually, it's Utah. It's not Idaho. One of the technicians at Dash Bikes. He's from out in that general way. It's Utah again, but it is beautiful out there. I don't imagine myself getting out to Idaho soon, but yeah, I would agree that out there, there's plenty of room. All right, so I am looking through the questions here, the comments. Good night, Ryan. I guess. Wages was required watching. Yeah, I agree. Wages, I try to get over there to Wages when I can. Sounds fascinating. Oh, yes, okay. It's the Death Star, yes. All right. So I'm looking to see. All right. So those heavenly bodies get jokes. Yes, they do. Yeah. Well, God, God really is a comedian. You know. Um. Yeah. Thank you, Bradley, for filtering out the. You're a handyman of positive vibes. All right, Ryan. All right. So I'm trying to look for. Okay. So Christy G. All right. So I want to make sure that I got to all the questions, and I think Christy G had a question that I didn't get to. So, oh no, she left. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, Christy G. I got to I did much of the questions I could, and I get along. Hopefully, I got to her. The main thing she wanted. Oh, there's 19 of you here. Oh, thank you. Wow. Let me see if I can find the actually my downloads. Hold on a sec. I gotta look for something. Let me find a random bit of music here. I gotta look for something. Let me find some random music here. All right. You all talk among yourselves. Actually,
she's got Carolina and cheese when she looks around at me. She's got wild eyes, she's a fairy child, and she put a little spell on me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. Watermelon for my pretty baby, please. She's a stunner on the beach. Golden hair flows in the breeze. Summer movie in the afternoon, spinning circles in a dress for me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun.
thank you, Bradley's son. Okay. I love it. See, if Alex was here, I'd have him play music. So I'm kind of almost glad Alex isn't. I'm not really, but I'm sort of kind of glad. I like that song. Hopefully you aren't bored of hearing it yet. Let me get back up. Where I was. Come on, here we go. All right, so this right here is the Shepherd Moons. Okay, so these are some documents I have on my Google Drive. Let's see what this one says. And this is about Saturn, the shepherd moons, the tender moons. Oh, good God. All right, so this hopefully is a document. All right. All right. So you can sort of kind of see that. The motion of small moons through Saturn's rings provide excellent tests of radial migration theory. All right. So what he's talking about is that the radial migration is the movement of the stuff, the material around the rings. Radial migration is as it's moving around, it's moving. You know, as it's rotating around the planet, it's migrating. All right, so that's just generally what that is. Formation of a propeller structure. All right, so let's. Oh, come on. Now let me do that. All right. One of these are pictures. I'm trying to find the. All right, so here we go. Planetary rings. What do we got here? Oh, it's text. Oh, I wanted pictures. This is a picture. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's some boring shit. All right. I have it. I was not quite preparing for this today. I like being a little bit more prepared. I have to find the PDF thing that allows me to open this up. Oop, hold on. Let's see if we can. Here it is. All right. All right. So this is all. It's not pictures. All right. So there are Cassini things. I wrote up a report. I'm looking for the. I had written about the fleet of tender moons, and so I actually had a bunch of stuff that I've written, and I'm trying to find it. And as you can see, my filing system has a bunch of stuff in it. All right. So what he's talking about is, I'll just read you this real quick here. Abstract. We address the occurrence of narrow planetary rings and some of their structural properties, in particular when the rings are shepherded. Shepherded. Okay. We consider the problem as Hamiltonian scattering of a large number of non-interlacing, massless point particles in an effective potential, i.e., using the existence of stable motion in scattering regions. With this setup, we describe a mechanism in phase space for the occurrence of narrow rings and some consequences in their structure. We illustrate our approach in 3 examples. We find eccentric narrow rings displaying sharp edges, variable width, and appearance of distinct ring components or strands, which are spatially organized and entangled as braids. We discuss the relevance of our approach for narrow planetary rings. All right, and so the keywords are narrow planetary rings, scattering systems, strands in braids. Okay, so that is, let me get out of here. All right, so that is more of this. So, hello, I'm trying to get my, all right. All right, so this one here by Shugo Michikoshi, or however you pronounce that name. I don't mean it disrespectfully sounding. All right, so this is from, hello, there's 16 of you here. Okay, thank you, hi. Thank you for all sticking around. We're now almost 2 hours into this. There's 6 of you, more or less 6 of you, that I hope are here every single time. And then I'm going to say Bradley, Jackie, Julie, David, Mimi, the Be Kind to Others, and there's, one more person as well. Well, in Wages, he's never here, but anyway, so he's one of the ones I would want to see here. Anyway, so thank you, the core of you who comment regularly. You know, I'm mentioning you by name because I've seen you pretty much in every comment, and I've talked to you, and you've been here, and you know, so you are my core fan base, I guess. And so I especially appreciate it when I'm able to do a live cast where those of you who have been here from the beginning, and a lot of you are coming from Widges as well, are here. So thank you. It's my kind of way of saying thank you, of, you know, kind of coordinating this into your life. All right. So where am I at? All right. So I did bring up the Saturn thing. This is where the JP, so that's Japan. All right, so, so the Cassini spacecraft discovered a propeller-shaped structure in Saturn's A-ring. This propeller structure is thought to be formed by gravitational scattering of ring particles by an unseen embedded moonlet. Self-gravity wakes are prevalent in dense rings due to gravitational instability. Strong gravitational wakes affect the propeller structure. Here we derive the condition for formulation of a propeller structure by a moonlet embedded in a dense ring with gravitational wakes. We find that a propeller structure is formed when the wavelength of the gravitational wakes is smaller than the Hill radius of the moonlet. We confirm this formulation condition by performing numerical simulations. This condition is consistent with observations of propeller structure in Saturn's A ring. Okay. So, are you starting to get the kind of picture of this? That there is a fleet of tender, like a prime rib. They're tender moons, you know. Takes a tough man to make a tender moon. All right, so strands and narrow. Did I get that? Misbehaving. Gravity's misbehaving disk. I think that was like a science issue. All right, yeah, here we go. All right, so any of you again who followed Queen V, Christy, check out that one. So any of you that follow Queen V, Lady V, you know, she talked about Saturn as an autonomous being, as it were, and a conscious being caught in between phases of transitioning, you know, as it were. So one of the things she mentioned is about Neptune not having that, and Uranus also not having rings, and that's part of one of the things is that Neptune is the, you know, the king of the deep, the dream planet, and I can imagine Neptune's influence and pull, you know, causing these things to have mental problems, the disagreeable beings who are causing the rings of, you know, the ring. We have one ring to rule them all. Well, that would be Saturn. There's a connection. There is no doubtedly a connection. When they talk about the Lord of the Rings, you know, you see the symbology of it there, and how, you know, a ring is very much, you know, the word ring, ringing, ringing in the ears. You know, you have these examples of how they are taking charge of your life. All right, so I'm reading my comments. All right, so all right, so this is more of, this isn't Saturn, but this is more of the material. And eventually, I was planning on doing a see, they're coming up with weird, crazy ideas. Without confinement, the arcs of material orbiting Neptune would have spread out into rings a long time ago. But new observations show that they are still there, challenging astronomers' best attempts at explaining them. Yeah, well, they're artificially put there. That's why you can't explain them. All right. Let's go back here. Planetary rings. All right, no, I was here already. All right. Saturn. All right. Oh, okay, here we go. This is the other stuff. All right. So I'm trying to find some good pictures here. I should probably have music playing for this. Have a good clear picture. All right, so that's not really a good clear picture. Well, these are the rings of Saturn, obviously. Okay. You can't see... What you see there are the very varieties of rings. If you look at it, you think of it like, I think of it like an LP. A long play record. With all the different grooves. There we go. They're showing you the effect in here, in between the rings and the planet. You see the field? See how far out the magnetic field of Saturn reaches? Like, you just got to understand this. How as big as Saturn is, right? The rings, how far out they are. The influence of Saturn goes all the way out here to double its width, right? And should the cosmic ray come in, you see this? At that odd-ass angle, it gets caught in by the you see this angle here, how it matches up with like the length of the field here around it. So the cosmic rays get sucked in by Saturn's magnetic field, and then it travels along. These are basically like mostly icy kind of particles and stuff. But they also find some other stuff in there. It's not all, there's a variety of material that's in there. It's not all ice. That's important to understand. It's different materials that make up a variety of it's a variety of materials that are in these rings. And that's why you get different compositions that resonate at different frequencies and everything because of the different materials. And all of those rings operated at somewhat of a, it's a plasma. This is a field. They don't operate. It's not like I can't even explain it, but it is a field of these things. The rings. There are many. You see them, and so they all kind of bobble the cosmic rays along until it hits the planet, and then you see it start heating up. All right. Saturn's battered moon, Hyperion, battered moon. All right. It's text. Come on, what else we got? Oh, my documents are boring. Oh, read the program. Okay. That's for me personally. All right, what else we got? Oh, dust in the rings. Oh, here we go. That's from Cassini. There we go. I'm not sure what we're reading, but you see the grain trajectory. You see it's a interaction between the planet and the rings. Okay. All right. So these are text. I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. This was good. So this is from Cassini. So chemical interactions between Saturn's atmosphere and its rings. All right. So I'm not going to go into this too much, but you can see the measurement, the mass per charge, that's a unit. And these are different, the colors here, CH4, I'm not sure what that is, CO2, the blue is carbon dioxide, Orange, you don't see much orange there. That's CON2, carbon monoxide, and N2 is nitrogen. H2O is this light blue color here. NH3, I'm not sure what that is, but that's that dark burgundy there. And then organics. So look at all this. This is the composition of the makeup of the rings of Saturn. All right, you see that? And He here, this yellow is helium. Okay. This brown one, tan one here is hydrogen. Okay. And I'm not sure what that white one is there. Then there's mass per charge. And this says integrated counts per IP. I'm not sure what that is. It starts 10 there, and then it goes 100, and that's 10,000, and that's 10 to the 6th, it's 10 to the 8th. All right, so this says mass influx, revolution. That's the 290th time it went around the planet. Mass influx, and 6,500 to 25,000 kilograms per second to the negative first. All right, so. All right, so that's some of the literature. I'm reading the comments here. Can we ask Vert if he knows about shields? Yes, sort of. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a Faraday cage or something. Sort of. You need, like, get yourself some copper wire. I mean, not copper wire, some copper mesh screening. Oh, holy crap, I got to plug in. My phone's about to die. I mean, my camera. Good thing I check these often. Come on, baby, you can do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Hopefully that didn't go dim as it looked over here. All right. So, all right. So shielding. Faraday. Yeah. One of the things that I've kind of have in the back burner is the whole Faraday cage thing. Some people know what a Faraday cage is, some people don't, but if you're unfamiliar with it, it's basically Michael Faraday. He was a physicist, I believe, but he also did, he was like an electrical engineer type of person. He was well respected in electronics. I'm just trying to give a basic kind of thing. And so Faraday is very well known. And I think we're talking about the 1800s. Actually, hold on. This is probably a good thing to go looking up. Who is Michael Faraday? Michael Faraday. There we go. Look at this handsome fella here. Oh, look at that dapper young man. Painting of Faraday, 1849. So this was alive during the Carrington event. Show him 1849. Just there, it would have been toward the very end of his life. Look at that. He passed away 1867, age 75. Okay. So, this guy, he was a pretty outstanding guy relative to electromagnetics, and, he is one of our patron saints here at the Schumann Resonances. So, I think we'll have a Michael Faraday day. September, we passed it. We passed Faraday's birthday. This month, 2022 September. Holy crap. He would have been, wow, like 180, 190, 200. Wow. Had he lived. So, when we talk about the Faraday cage, it's based on the principles of this here feller who really knows his stuff, and we have him to thank for a lot of our knowledge of electromagnetics and his principles. Okay. So I am just fiddling with my coffee here. Okay. I want to. All right. It's okay. So let me read this. So, although Faraday received little formal education, he was one of the most influential scientists in history. Holy yeah. It was his research on the electromagnetic field around a conductor carrying a direct current that Faraday established the basis for the concept of the electromagnetic field in physics. Faraday also established that electromagnetism could affect rays of light and that there was an underlying relationship between the two phenomena. All right, so Faraday, of our modern scientists, was the first to suggest that or at least magnetism, could affect rays of light, and that there was an underlying relationship between the two phenomena, between magnetism and light. Okay. He's similarly discovered the principle of electromagnetic induction and diamagnetism. Where do we even get copper mesh? You would have to go to a place like a hardware store, Lowe's. It's actually kind of easier to get than the copper mesh, I think, is easier to get than the heavier kind of copper. Like, I'm not sure what the mesh, I think. I'll look into it. I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm probably not going to look into it right now, but I will look into where to get copper mesh. Because that's a great question. I enjoyed the chat. Okay, Dawn. Thank you. Oh, Dawn. Yes. Hi. I see you regularly. Thank you. I enjoy your being here, your company. Thank you. I have appreciated your comments for showing up. Take liquid copper as well. Okay. Well, copper is one of those transitional metals, I think. So he is. I'm looking for if I can find something about the Faraday cage. Humphrey Davy. Electricity and magnetism. Okay. Faraday's breakthrough. Diamagnetism. Faraday cage. Here we go. There we were. All right. Okay, so this is what's important. Faraday cage. Dun, da, da, da. In his work on static electricity, Faraday's ice pail experiment demonstrated that the charge resided only on the exterior of a charged conductor. An exterior charge had no influence on anything enclosed within a conductor. This is because the good God. This is because the exterior charges redistribute such that the interior fields emanating from them cancel one another. This shielding effect is used in what is now known as a Faraday cage. In January 1836, Faraday had put a wooden frame, 12-foot square, on 4 glass supports and added paper walls and wire mesh. He then stepped inside and electrified it. When he stepped out of his electrified cage, Faraday had shown that electricity was a force, not an imponderable fluid, as was believed at the time. All right. Is there jewelry I can wear? All right. Actually, let me show you. Since you ask. Oh, please, system processing. Okay. Orgone. How to build an orgone accumulator. This is probably a...
After 30 days,
No
I
thanks.
could not believe my before and after picture. I literally
5, 4,
rolled
3,
back
2,
the hands of
1.
time.
There we go. Okay. Easy to build, small. Okay. Choose any metal container or can that you have at home. Here are a few proposals. All right. Great music. For the magnet, make sure they're made of iron, aluminum, not good for orgone accumulators. All right. So remove the plastic liner. So you want metal to metal. Okay, we'll trust that's good enough. Physically with a drill, okay. Or choose a can without the plastic. Okay, so we got it cleared out of the surface. Now we will build an orgone blanket to wrap around the can. Now this is not jewelry, okay? However, you can scale this down. You get the basic principle, okay? This is one way to do it, but it's a video I happen to see. Okay, all right. So mark and cut 3 rectangles of following sizes. Height of the can, 3 to 4 centimeters. All right. I had cut the melton just 2 centimeters larger and hadn't added a strip later, as you'll see. Okay. Cut 2 strips of steel wool. All right, so that's what that is. That's steel wool. The third layer is crucial. I'll leave a link for this in the video so you can find it again, or in the description. And that he's spreading the steel wool. Repeat with the second layer. All right, so he's layering it here. We're starting to get the impression of a battery of some type. Cut the circle smaller than the can, the interior of the can. Okay, nice. More tin foil. I'm sorry, more steel wool. Assemble as before. Layer it up. Okay. Look at that, let's get a sandwich. Nice. Oh, and a friendship bracelet. How lovely. Okay. Oh, and he's gonna sew it. Sew the perimeter. You can do this by hand as well. Wow, look at that! I made a little pillow. Oh, this is killer. Sew the perimeter. It can be done by hand. Okay. More stitches along the length to fix the layers. All right, so he's getting this good. Oh, there we go. Wow, look at that. Sew the circle. Oh my God, I would be hand sewing this. Oh, okay. All right. You get credit for doing it. Nice. Okay. Nice. Okay, you got a cylinder. Alright, stitch one end. Okay, nice. Very crafty, okay. You got a little sock. Insert the can in the cylinder. Okay. Following you so far. Okay, that's just, I guess, regular button. Blow the melton disc on the can lid. Okay. Okay, well, there you go. Orgone accumulator. All right. So you see what he was doing with it. He was charging up this food, right? Charging up the water. There's holy fuck.
That we're having right now, you know, like the CMEs and stuff that are blowing off the sun. And we're going to look at that next.
If anyone objects to watching wages,
just kick up.
let me know. I'm having a coffee.
And that's saying that these CMEs are going to be our direction. You know, until the CME tracker updates, I can't give you a definite on that, but I can give you my opinion, and I'll show it to you guys here in a minute. So you can see how, you know, the aurora right now, it's kind of right there. I don't see it coming down right now. We could, I guess, if some of this stuff starts getting here. But as of right now, I wouldn't be looking for any kind of great aurora. Okay, here's the speed. This is the.
This is fun. We can be doing a live stream at the same time.
Field, okay, let me redo that, and I'll push play here. This is showing us speed. All right, and you're going to start seeing little waves come in here of different speeds. Again, remember, this is just showing you speed. This isn't showing you density. It's not showing you power of anything or pressure, any of that. All it's showing you is the speed of the particles. That's it. So when you look at this, you have to understand that, okay? And, you know, again, all we're seeing is a little bit of, you know, extra speed there. Now the density, same thing here. It's just density. It's not telling you how fast it is. We can look at it and kind of get an idea, but it's still not telling us exactly how fast things are moving. It's simply just telling you how dense the particle is at that area. And you can see that it's kind of moving around, but notice down here we still got our little signature or anomaly that's still showing up. Always down here, always. Okay, we'll let that play through again. You'll see it. It'll pop up. It's not as intense right now, but it's still there. Watch what happens right in here. See? See how it's not doing that up here? So that's what I'm talking about. Now notice it looks like our magnetics are kind of pushed up a little bit, and they are. Okay, this is directional. We're fending stuff off in a directional pattern. So we're either getting pulled in a certain way, or we're getting this or getting that, or however you want to talk about it. But that most certainly is directional there. This is usually like facing directly towards the sun, and we're kind of pulled one direction right now. Now that's just higher dense material there. That could mean some sort of a little opening there, or it could not. We don't know for sure, because the particles could be the same on both sides of that line. We just don't know. Pressure. Okay. Again, this will kind of mimic, especially the density. See how we're kind of squished like an egg right here? Now I know it's not very intense, but it still is egg shaped. Okay, there's not a whole lot of pressure, you know, quote unquote pressure happening right now. But, you know, this is going to change. Okay. I'll show you the magnetopause here on this one. Now the sun's off to the right on these, okay? And you're going to see a little bit more action on these. These tend to show things a little bit more visually. It's trying to show you the same data though, okay? Okay, you notice that? Now, you know, we get this kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a rectangle signature. Now this right here, you guys see this right angle? That is a anomaly of the tool. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything. There's something with this model that it shows like a square over top of us all the time. It's always there. Sometimes you can't see it because there's not a difference in color, but right there you can. You can see it there too. But this other stuff has nothing to do with that. So if we see this, you see what's happening here, right? Let me back this up. Okay, we get hit out in the front. Now watch. See how it exits? Remember, we're like now see that right there. Check this out. Okay? Nothing's really hitting us in the front, right? Then why did we do that? Where did that come from? You know where that came from, right? That came from us. The Earth did that. At least in my opinion. We're kind of like a capacitor, guys. We'll retain a certain amount of energy until we can't hold it anymore. And then we got to let it go. And that's what happens. Now, we are getting some energy in the front. And that's probably what's happening here. Is we're getting that energy in the front. It's funneling into our system. And finally, we get full and we got to let it go. And that's what happens. If that energy, you know, a lot of times you'll see it go out in all directions. You can see even the shapes and stuff. Some of this stuff, it's inside our satellite line. And we're talking magnetics here, guys. Okay? That's what we're talking about. And see, it did it again there. Even a little bit. Right there. See that? Now, again, you know, we're not... If I was to see a big hit out here in the front, and then we seen that, I would be talking a little bit different because this is two-dimensional. Sometimes we get hit in the front and it'll roll around us, okay? Like, just picture a string right here on the Earth and pull it towards your face and pretend there's like a sheet, like a sheet or something right there in front. That shape is what our magnetic field actually looks like. We're sitting kind of in the middle of a donut cut in half, all right? It's three-dimensional. So basically what this does is when we get hit in the front, it will go over the top, which means coming towards us and rolling around. But it's going to look like that. It's our perspective and the way that this model works. If this was three-dimensional, this thing would look way different. Okay? So with that, you know, again, we're getting, you know, I think we're getting energy, and see how we kind of tilt it down again. Okay, and we got some stuff there in the front. Watch up here. Okay, and we react. That's just what happens. So you look at the two very intense regions here, and it's kind of odd that it's not like that on the front, right in the middle. So anyway, wind speed. Okay, this is the wind speed graph model. Again, sun's off to the right. And this is going to mimic what we've seen just now on the other one. Okay, it's just going to show us a little differently. Okay, the speed itself actually got up to like 600, it showed earlier. Now, can we trust that 100%? I don't think we can trust any of these models 100%. But, you know, that one seems to be a lot more fluctuation than what we see on the other ones. So I'm not sure if I trust the speed on that one 100% or not. But, you know, I think we're better off to look at the other ones when we look at the speed because they stay more consistent. So as we look at this, we're going to see these are the magnetic field lines. The blue ones are anyway, interplanetary. That's what attaches us to the sun and other celestial objects. Notice when we got hit there, look what happens. Okay? That's when we get hit. That's what happens. Now look at that. You see these lines bunching up out here in the front? Those are magnetic field lines. That's our connection to the sun, like I just said. They're interplanetary magnetic field lines. That's, yeah, those shouldn't really be piling up like that. And it's almost like I said, it's kind of directional because it's not symmetric. And so as we go on forward there, we keep moving. Okay, and there's another hit. Okay, watch what happens here. We take a little hit. You can see the color change just a little bit. It's not a big, huge hit, but watch this. Okay, and I'll stop it when I want to show you. Notice how we start seeing something here magnetically changing. And then here, now look at these lines out here in the front. They were piling up this direction. Now they're down here. Now watch. We get that right after we get that little piling up out there in the front on the bottom side here. Makes you wonder, guys, what's going on there. I just don't really think that we got a good grasp on what's actually happening with all these field lines because, man, they're all over the place sometimes. Now, I realize that this model itself is older, but the other one shows similar things. It just shows it a different visual. So, we just got to really understand that. And I have to say this again. Every time I show this, I'm going to say it. That just because what this thing is showing us behind us may not be exactly what we're trying to look for, we can definitely tell if it's not the same as what it used to be. Okay? That's one thing we can definitely say. That, hey, this looks different than what it used to. It's easy to do that. It's a simple observation. Now, to be able to pinpoint down exactly what's causing it, why it's doing this, that's where the big conversation comes into, and that's where the research comes into. And everybody's research is going to lead them to something different. I'm telling you, it does. And that's why we have to be open to listen to people. That's all. So, there's that. Now, I'm going to show you these CMEs, guys. I'm going to show it to you on seeds first, okay? Let me go back to the 17th. This is the one I showed you guys yesterday, the halo one, and then we got another one that blew off here, right? Already showed you guys this yesterday. Okay? Now I'm going to go the next day. Got more. We're getting some here. We get a decent one there on the end. Okay, and I'm going to slow this down because I've seen something here too that kind of caught my eye. Alright, so I'm going to back that up. And what I want you guys, I'm going to zoom in. I want you guys to kind of look right here in this area. And it's going to look as though something is moving from here towards the sun. So let me, we'll zoom in there. I'm not saying it's anything that's like of concern or anything. It just caught my eye, and I don't know what it is. So, yeah. I think it was kind of right there. Let's do this. It's up here. Okay, I'll back it up again. It's right in here. Okay, watch it. You'll see it for a couple frames. It's going to look as though it went from here that way towards the sun. See? So I don't know what's causing that. But what I can say is we got some CMEs going on here, okay? Now, are they huge? Are they big? Well, I can tell you right now that they're not like babies. This is significant energy, guys. We even get kind of like a halo, a sideways halo down here. Look at this one right there. See that? And it's going on all sides of the sun, just like my thumbnail said. We're seeing it on multiple different parts of the sun right now. So that's what it looks like on seeds. That's LASCO C2, okay? The satellite's out in front of the Earth. It's our view. So let's go look at stereo A, which is from the side. Look here. Seeds is not updating on stereo A at all right now. And I wonder why. Because of this. Because you can get to it from here. So why isn't Seeds doing it? Just on stereo A. But it's giving us the information on LASCO C2. Well, my opinion is we see a lot of things on that black and white imagery. We don't see it so much here. We can still see stuff here, but it's not as intense and it's not as easy to see. So I think sometimes that might be what's happening. I can't say for sure. You know, obviously I can't. I mean, I can't. There's no way I could prove that. But it's just an opinion I have, and it is what it is. It's my opinion.
It's a good opinion.
But I have reasons for my opinion, and I just told you what they were. We see things easier there.
Well founded.
So, again, Earth's over here, okay? Satellite's down here. That's the perspective we're looking at on this particular capture. So let me grab that real quick. I'll take it here to the... Okay, this is the 16th going into the 17th. That's the big halo CME I showed you guys yesterday.
Boom. Look at that.
Okay? Now, as we go through time here, I think it jumped some time there. No, it didn't. Not too much. Okay. But then you seen it kind of light up over here too. Now those, I do think that those are little meteorites of some sort flying around. That ain't a typical, like cosmic ray glitch in the camera, okay? Not, you know, there's only one to begin with, okay? Now that's Mercury. And we're going to talk about Mercury.
You're alive. Thank you all 12 of you who are still here.
Sorry, guys. All right. Well, let me, you guys doing okay in there? Just give me a thumbs up if everybody's okay. All right, guys, you're going to see, like, actually, I'm going to back that up. When I push play, the first one you're going to see is down here, okay? See that one fire off? And we'll watch it a couple times here. There's another one there. There's actually one over here. Okay, that was actually at the beginning. I'm going to take you to the 304 because we're seeing it release there pretty easy over there. Okay? You see how big that one was? I'll zoom in a little bit because I want you guys to see that one. That was probably the biggest one. Watch right here when it resets. Okay, you see what it did there? It exploded, it erupted, and it kind of tried to stop, like the sun grabbed that energy back, and then it did it again, and then it really released. Watch what happens. See it stop, and then boom, went again. That's very, very interesting. I don't know what to make of that completely yet. I can't say that it's coming at us. I can't say that it's not coming at us. You know, judging by the direction here and the location of where it started, I couldn't see it coming right at us. But what I could say is that if it's going this way, you know, we could catch a glancing blow of it because, you know, angle matters. Angle of the eruption matters. Like if, say the Earth's here and it erupts straight out that way, right? Well, what if it angled and went this way? It's still going to look the same.
That's what they call the phi angle. The phi angle of incident.
But we have another one over here that happened on the end. And I just caught it right before I went live because we can literally see the filament releasing on the front side of the sun. And I'll show it to you here in just a second. But this here is only an eruption. You guys seeing all this, right? So, guys, these aren't flares. These are CMEs. This is plasma leaving the sun. This is different than a flare. It's not X-rays. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, we get both at the same time. But right now, for whatever reason, we are seeing flares. Not flares, but CMEs. And, you know, some of the stuff we're seeing isn't around the sunspot. So that's probably why they're not so much flares right now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to back this off a little bit. And you're going to get a pretty decent idea of what's going on the whole sun. You look at this big filament up here right at the beginning, number one. See how tall that's stretching? That's probably, guys, if I had to guess, that thing was probably at least 20, 25 Earth high.
I was thinking that same thing. Yeah.
Okay?
Roughly, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that energy is leaving the sun. You can actually see it raining back down to the surface. Some of it could have.
You see a little
but
bit
even
over there.
if it did leave the sun there, it's not coming at us. It's going the other direction. But watch what happens here. Watch down here first. There's a big one. Look at that one. Another one. Boom.
Boom. Killing it.
Another smaller one.
Some up there.
Okay, now here, because this is the one that I think might give us some issue. So I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit more. You know, cut me some slack here, guys. I'm gonna try to do it the best I can to give you guys the best view possible here, so we can really take a look at this.
Way in there.
Well, I'm gonna back out one section here.
Good.
Okay, yeah, that's probably better. So let me bring this back, and I'm just gonna walk it through. Now remember, when things are coming off the front of the sun, and we don't have the background of the black space behind it, it's harder to see. But this time, guys, it's pretty evident. Okay, here's the first one. Want you guys look right here. See this dark area? Watch this filament just release, man. And it does it with a quickness too. Now, again, with it flicking like that, I don't know what direction that's going. I can't give you that right now. What time did that happen? See, that just happened. Like an hour, well, yeah, like an hour and a half ago. So the CME tracker is not going to have that updated because, number one, it ain't updating right now for whatever reason anyway. It did update to one of the CMEs that happened yesterday, but none of this new stuff is on there. But watch this right here. See that lift off? Okay, so so let me back it up right here. You can see the connection. What's that look like? Looks like the plasma loops I've been showing you guys on the sun. That's right. It's a magnetic field line, and it's the plasma, traveling on that field line. And when it does its thing, it breaks that line like an incandescent light bulb filament. All right, in your light bulbs, you have a filament in the middle. Old light bulbs, I should say, not LEDs. And the resistance that's caused there is what gives the light. The light and the heat right there, and that's what gives you the light. This is the same kind of thing. And when the light bulb goes out, what happens? Bam, it busts, right? Well, that's what happened right there. Look how high that reaches up. Now, with it being right here, and look, just judging. We got a little swarm here. We got some stuff going on here. I'm going to put all magnitudes on. It's ever going to stop, at least for a while, in this area. Again, it's from the craton. It's that energy happening. So if we go through and we look, nothing's going on the East Coast. Now, I want to talk about that for a second because, in my opinion, that's probably not the best thing for us right now. Because, a lot of people are coming out, Dutch come out and said it first, I think, and was talking about, the possibility of some decent. That means things are building, and when it does finally go, something in there, okay? Okay, spaceweather.com. Here's the sunspot, guys, okay? That is an official sunspot. I'm going to shut some of this off. Let's go ahead. So, yeah. That's an official sunspot. Now, it's already doing things. It's not doing a whole bunch, but you can see it's got some pretty good characteristics. Right now, it seems to be fairly stable. It doesn't look to be too, but, you know, we have to watch it. Now, here's where, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday when Mercury came into view, when I showed it to you guys on Stereo A. And a lot of people don't know that Mercury does have a tail. And it's made out of salt, sodium. Now, I know it's kind of surprising. People probably like, what? What are you talking about? But it's the truth. Okay? What happens is, because of, you know, the closeness to the sun, the atmosphere is getting pulled back a little bit. And, you know, we could read this if we want. But they say it's coming from the surface, and solar wind hits it, and it's part of Mercury's atmosphere, basically. Or meteorites, they're saying, also hit, and it got to be lifted up, and then the solar wind will kind of drag it out. It says first predicted in the 1980s, Mercury's tail was discovered in 2001. They didn't even know this happened until 2001. It says its source is Mercury's super thin atmosphere. Okay, it's so close to the sun, pressure from sunlight itself can push atoms out of the atmosphere and into space. Okay, the escaping gas forms a tail. Get this, more than 24 million kilometers long. Okay, now that's pretty significant. That's pretty long. So this guy actually did some. This Sebastian Voltmer, he photographed this in his backyard in France, and it says the tail is reaching the. Okay. That's why Voltmer's yellow sodium filter. That's what he used. And that's why he caught it. Because it filtered out everything but that color. So he was able to see that, and that's what you're seeing. Kind of crazy. Look how long that tail is. That's Mercury. People wouldn't think Mercury would look like that. And it doesn't to our you know, our visible eye. But this is why we put, just because you can't see it don't mean it's not there. And this is why we start having issues with people saying, well, when we show you things, well, you put a filter on it. Well, yeah, okay. So, doesn't mean we altered anything. We just exposed something that was already there. That's what I would say. But yeah. So, there's that. Now, what else that I was going to talk about? I kind of forget. Let me look at my thumbnail. Oh, yeah. I wanted to share this with you guys, too. Check this out.
I'm checking.
Man becomes an instant millionaire. Meteorite crashes through his roof.
Oh, nice. I want one of them.
Diane, how's Mercury have a tail? It's actually made out of salt. The Mercury's atmosphere is so thin that the atoms can get pushed back just by the sunlight itself, the pressure of it. And that's what happens. It makes it look like it has a tail. But check this out. Ain't that crazy? When did he say he did this one? This article was just put out today. He was 33. He was a casket maker. And this guy's a millionaire now because of this. The rock, which weighed 2.1 kilograms, left a large hole in his roof and is estimated to be 4 years old. We're not going to talk about the age of the universe here. I'm not going to get into that subject. This is just what this article is saying. Okay?
Nice head off.
I know that there's a lot of opinions on that, and
yeah.
I'm not getting into that right now. It would be such a long discussion. But yeah,
Save it,
I know
honey.
everybody has their position on that, and I respect everybody. So anyway, this thing was worth so much money is because it actually did contain some extraterrestrial metals. There's the hole it left in his roof. Okay, so if you guys go, I left the link to this in my description. So if you guys want to check it out, you can. So I just thought that was cool. That is nuts. Okay.
Well worth a hole in your
yeah.
roof.
So, anybody got any questions on anything real quick? I will, let's do this real quick. Let me, I do want to,
The three of us are live. Me, Wages, and Mark Pars.
okay, let me do that real quick.
And there I am on the resonances. All right.
All right.
This has been
Guys,
3
my
hours.
PayPal link's down here. You know, if you guys want to donate, you can. I've been getting a lot of questions on where to find it. It's here in my description. If you guys want to go down there and check it out. And I guess people, you know, if you're not comfortable doing that and you really want to, you know, give to me, I guess. I hate even talking about this. I hate this. I really do. I'm so uncomfortable when I talk about this, guys. I just don't even know what to say. I hate doing it. Everybody's pushing me to do it, so I'll do it. But here's the P.O. box. I got a P.O. box. We've had this for a long time. If you guys want to, you know, check that out, you can. If you'd rather, you know, do it that way, you can. I'm probably going to start a Cash App. I haven't started one yet. I know people use that. They were asking me about that.
I do. Cash App is shady.
But yeah, so that's there if you guys want to check that out. I would really, you know, like I said, I appreciate anybody that does this. Well, let's just do that. Let's just go over here. I'll grab this real quick. So I'll put it in the chat there. So there it is. If you guys want to give, great. I mean, it really would. I mean, it does help me. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't, because it does. It most certainly does. And again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about my situation and stuff that I have, because it's not your guys' problem, you know. But people have been asking, and again, that's why I'm even talking about this. I hate this. I really do. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to move on. And I do appreciate everybody that does, and I will show my appreciation. Probably what I'm going to do is do some sort of a giveaway or something for people that do. And that's kind of what I'm going to do, I think. You know,
good lead-in. Speaking of a giveaway. All right, so this is a good point to pause this. Let me kind of turn this off. All right, so where am I? All right, so okay, this thing keeps buffering. All right, so I'm going to for the 9 of you still left, I'm going to just say this. The 9 of you are my kind of core base. So just say this. I mean, maybe, but I'm just going to say this. So I was talking with Alex. I'm going to do a little contest on the bike. Okay. So the bike is the giveaway bike, and I don't have any pictures of it. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a contest. I think. I already have an idea of who I want to give the bike to. However, because that person is, I think, they kind of tied for my number 1 fan. There's 2 that I think are my number 1 fan. Why is this important? I want to give the bike away to someone who deserves it. But Alex says, why do we quantify this? Why do we need to, you know, give it, you know, like, let's open it up and make it fair to everyone. So we're going to have a contest, and Alex and I are going to work on this, where we're going to open it up to have like an essay. And we'll have it in the comments. I'll post a video on this and put it in the comments of why the person, the random person, is a much better recipient than my number 1 fan. So why should you get the bike more than my number 1 fan? And so that would be the question. So soon, sometime this week, Alex and I are going to do a live stream, and we're going to present that question, and we're going to present that kind of argument to people. It's like, all right, you know, if you think you deserve the bike, why? Why should we give it to you instead of the person who I think is my number 1 fan? Anyway, so it's my view. So that's in closing. Thank you all for being here. I'm over 3 hours. I wasn't intending to make this 3 hours, but doing these is a lot of fun, and it really is. I'm not really a people person, but you guys, I wrote it in the comments. Y'all are my family. So anyway, before I close this, though, I wanted to address the DNA. There's a lot of your deoxyribonucleic acid. It are amino acids. Okay. Now, yes, I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving soon. All right, so what is DNA? All right, now, keep in mind, much of your DNA is considered junk DNA, all right? DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is the hereditary material in humans and almost all other organisms. Nearly every cell in a person's body has the same DNA. Most DNA is located in the cell nucleus, where it's called nuclear DNA. But a small amount of DNA can also be found in the mitochondria, where it is called mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA. Mitochondria are structures within cells that convert the energy from food into a form that cells can use. The information in DNA is stored as a code made up of 4 chemical bases: adenine A, guanine G, cytosine C, and thymine. DNA consists of about 3 billion bases, and more than 99% of those bases are the same in people. The order or sequence of these bases determines the information available for building and maintaining an organism, similar to the way that which letters of the alphabet appear in certain orders to form words or sentences. All right, well, that's what they say. Okay. So the question is, how are the Schumann resonances affecting your DNA? And there is not much information on this topic, okay? There's a lot of misinformation in the New Age community. What we're looking at, part of it, is not necessarily the Schumann resonances, which are the low end of the radio frequency. Like 4 or 5 to 50 ish, 45. We're only talking about 40 hertz that are the Schumann resonances. That is a relatively small spectrum to the total energy that gets to us. So even though, again, there's not much information on this relative to the Schumann affecting the DNA, there chromosomes, radiation, ionizing radiation affects the chromosomes. Schumann resonances are not ionizing radiation. It's non-ionizing radiation. It's electromagnetics. Now, the question, DNA, changing DNA, is how permanent. If you get a headache, just say, from a solar burst, it's temporary. It's quick. It's temporary. You have other problems, like say you have your headache may last longer, but it is also something that is also kind of affecting you more than just. A lot of the stuff is debatably temporary. How do I say this? It's not that the Schumann resonances. I'm trying to think I'm asking to advance our DNA. It may be such that we will heal our DNA and restitch it back when the Schumann resonances go up and the waves are no longer the lowest frequency waves. I don't know a better way to explain this or how to describe it, but it may not be. In one of the videos, maybe I should put this on my YouTube channel. One of the videos I had watched was from the Galactics, the Silver Federation, I think it was. I'm trying to remember. They were asking about the Schumann resonances, and what the reply came back is that the Schumann resonances are not a booster; they are a throttle for our development. So a lot of people have the idea that the Schumann resonances are rising and rising and it's showing because there hasn't been a that you could really prove this or human intervention or us at our genetic level creating spikes or creating a difference in the electromagnetic environment. All right. Now, if you talk about a higher dimension, a different density, something like that, that's a different discussion. But if you're talking about at your base level, the amino acid level, the physical chemical body, the Schumann resonance are the ones that are changing this. This is what I'm maintaining. The gamma and X-ray radiation, yeah, that could be if it's continued, that can be hitting us at a very substantial level, and that could be changing us. But I don't believe that the Schumann resonances at the lowest frequencies are changing our DNA like that. I mean, and again, there's not really. The scientists consider 90% of okay, you gotta, so there's not much of the establishment science that is even studying this, and the people that are kind of studying this are, or let me not, the non-scientific people who are talking about the Schumann resonances affecting our DNA are what I would call the New Ager kind of channelers. These people that channel archangels or whatever, and I'm not saying this to anyone or any of them, they may or may not be, but how do you know, right? How would you know if they are actually channeling an angel or some spiritual being or whatever? You're dipping into the astral, and I don't know what you're pulling back. So when we talk about the Schumann resonances affecting the DNA, it may be retarding your DNA. You got to look at it that way. That these are the electromagnetic. This system of operation has been here in operation for quite a while, and they couldn't imagine the planet operating without these Schumann resonances. However, it's a waveguide. It's a closed waveguide. It's in a die. It's set in a it's kind of cast. It's set in a kind of fixed way, based on the environment that there is now. Yet, things can change. There's no way that you could measure whether or not there has always been a on there, or if it has always been this low. That's part of the problem, the low frequency of the 7.8. And there's even a lower frequency at like 3 point, half of that is 3.3, 7.8 minus 3 is like 4.5, 4.5. So at 4.5 is the first true resonance, Schumann resonance, but they don't, we don't talk about that. It's always the first one of 7, the first one, quote unquote, is always at 7.8, and that is not technically the first Schumann resonance. There's an even lower frequency than that, and in the waveguide, it's the earthquakes don't cause resonances per se. It is the shifting as the plates move and stuff. There is causing a low vibration that interferes with the Schumann. I think that's important to mention. All right. So I'm not, the frequency's changing the DNA. All right, listen. There's a difference between velocity and a frequency. A frequency is a wave, okay? Velocity is straight line action, okay? Electrics move with a velocity. Magnetics move with a frequency because it's a wave, okay? So one of the things is that in order for your DNA to get affected, it's part of it is also your willingness to release, to relieve. We were talking about this of releasing the density, releasing the musty, the rusty, the dusty, the broken. It has to be a concerted motion in everything. It's not The Schumann resonances are not doing anything automatic. Okay? It is. Just like the rain didn't get your carpet wet, carpet where the rain could get to it, you know, there are things that are affecting the DNA more than just the Schumann resonances because again, these are the lowest frequencies. These are the lowest frequencies. I've said that, but I just want to make sure that kind of this is understood. There's more studies on like gamma and X-rays affecting the chromosome, breaking the chromosome. And I would also suggest to you poisons and toxins around your environment are stunting your restitching together of the DNA. It's more than just the Schumann resonances. The Schumann resonances are like the breathing, the breath of the earth. It's not the heartbeat. It's like the breathing of the earth. And I think that's an important point to make. Yeah, so these are there's more to this than just the DNA is a is code. All right, let me kind of also put it this way, that repeated patterns create repetitive motion creates a reality. Okay, so there is a turning on of the electrics of the system that's coming from the radiance around us. The Schumann resonances are carrying electrical currents in the atmosphere. Okay. And forces like the codes that come in, yes, it does have a way of reprogramming the code, but it has to be internalized by you. It's not automatic. Nothing happens automatically with humans. Regardless of whatever it's doing outside, you still need to internalize it and bring it in and ground that energy into yourself, into your core. It's the difference between a DC and an AC current. The Schumann resonances are an AC current. It's a wave. It keeps going up and down, fluctuating up and down. Whereas the direct solar radiance is a DC current that is more affecting you. Is that making, hopefully that's making sense to people. Send me some comments or whatever that you understand it. There's two circuits here. The one is the DC, one is the AC. The DC are the direct, okay, which get kind of filtered. A lot of that gets kind of filtered, but we definitely, and then bounces and bounces and bounces up and down, up and down, up and down. That is a frequency. It's a wave. And that's the AC current, okay? So the DC, the direct current, is more of an effect than the back end of it bouncing around, right? It's the bow, like the bow of a ship. You know, it's not the wake of the ship, you know, more often. It's not the wake that, you know, really, it's the front end. Your crown gets affected first, top down, the electrics, the really sharp, spiky bits lift you more than the back end of it. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, good. At least Vitalia understands. Okay. Good. Something good. I'm live. I'm back. I'm live. Okay. I've been kind of bouncing in and out. All right. So, ay caramba. What you need to worry about more are the poisons in your life breaking apart your DNA. Okay. There's a natural growth cycle that comes as you on this the kind of ascension pathway, but DNA change. substantially changing within the course of your lifetime is I want to be positive. I don't want to say it's an unlikely prospect, but it's involved. Our DNA has been shut off, and the kids that are being born now, their DNA is switched on. Okay, so that's something to kind of understand. The rainbow kids, the crystal kids, there's a bunch of the wave of different souls that are coming in, reincarnate or incarnating at this time who've never reincarnated. Reincarnation as a principle is done. People are not reincarnating. When you're done with this lifetime, you do not necessarily have to reincarnate, but some people have messed up. Okay, so they are choosing to come back, but they know most of the people that are coming back. If you really failed out, you may not be allowed to come back because the Earth's vibration is not able to withstand a total turd coming back and becoming another turd as a human being. That's just a kind of gentle way of putting it. So karma and reincarnation as principles are wrapping up. And I had this discussion with someone online that said, oh no, people are reincarnating. My grandfather came back as my brother's son, and then he started, and I'm like, well, yeah, how do you know that? Because he told you. That's more to the point I'm making, that reincarnation is a willing thing by people, and it's not coming through the same veil. People are being born with their memories. So the DNA has been switched, has been switched on to allow for the memories to be lodged in the body center, if you will. The causal, I think the body is the one, the third or fourth one up, is the one that allows these extra human experience memories to be set into the body. So you just feel whatever, it's not, there is no spoon, for example, all right. So part of this, if you were born without your DNA kind of switched on, it'll be very difficult through the Schumann resonances to reestablish them, because the Schumann resonances are not, they're a confining wave. It's how do I put this? It's like a attractor. It's a strange attractor, I think might be a way to put it. May or may not be a way to put it. But it's the stratification of space that you're essentially seeing. And so with the dissolution of the spatial, the densities, as things are giving way, and you see the glitches and the Mandela effect and all of this, as time and space start kind of separating out into their constituent elements, you start seeing a different reality around you of these really oddball things happening that you would not have ever seen before. But this is part of it as well, that your genetic code, your DNA, is made up of the same stuff as Earth, right? So, as the Earth is allowing us to happen, and as the Earth's DNA, the living planet's DNA, is also shifting and upgrading into a crystalline structure, we're being told, so too is your DNA. Your DNA. Unless you're one of those people who is able to, check density and dimension, and you're operating in a different, time is not linear, except where other people are involved, and there's all these other higher orders that are involved that you live in. Your density gets lowered as you work with people, right? Others that are not in the same place as you. But that's why we come here, and that's why I appreciate all of you, because I'm helping keep your density up, you're keeping my density up, and I really appreciate your being here. I'm going to see if I can stop this at 3:33:33. Okay, so I'm just going to go for a few more minutes. I believe I've talked about DNA. These were the last of the kind of questions, I think. And I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Oh my. Okay. All right. That's probably a sign to go. Okay. So thank you all for being there. I think what I'm going to do is do the only reasonable thing at this point. We've talked about DNA. I'm going to help raise your DNA. So let's see if I can get this to play and end it at the right time.
She's got magic in her big little arms. She's got color in her cheeks when she looks around at me. Yeah. She's got wild eyes. She's a fairy child, and she put a little spell on me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a white gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a white gun. Got me feeling like the watermelon for my pretty baby, please. She's a stoner on the beach. Golden hair flows in the breeze. Summer movie in the afternoon. Spinning circles in a dress for me. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun. Got me feeling like the one. She wanna dance in the sun. I'm a girl having fun. Shot her with a water gun.
All right. Thank you, Jay Lamore. Okay, so just in closing, this will be probably the last thing I do. I may do a video on this, talking about DNA. So just in closing, I get a lot of my ideas from the comments and from doing this. So this is not only am I answering and addressing questions in this, but it's helping give me a direction of where to go. So I think the next time I do a video, because I brought up a bunch of stuff for this video that I had wanted to talk about. So I think I'm going to leave this up here early on here, this right here, so I can talk about non-coding DNA. All right. So I'm going to be ending this in 30 seconds because it's almost at the right time. Thank you all very much for being here, all 6 of you who are still here. And I appreciate your being here. Thank you for giving me motivation, inspiration. And to tell you honestly, this was exactly what I needed. And I was hoping that, there would be some of you out here who I really care for and respect very much. All right. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time and your attention for being here. Thanks. Namaste. Good night, guys.